You're watching Twin Tiers Sunday with Leanne DeRosa.
Welcome to Twin Tiers Sunday. I'm your host, Leanne DeRosa. You can never thank a veteran enough for their service, but Friday, Veterans Day, was the one day specifically dedicated to the men and women who have fought for our country. And today's episode is all about honoring our veterans and military members. For the past few days, even weeks, different organizations, schools, and communities have been hosting tribute ceremonies. Songs have been sung, stories have been shared, they've remembered the lives lost and thanked those who are still living today. It's an act that's always appreciated and should always be necessary. So let's recap some of the ceremonies, show how young students are learning to give back, and we'll even share a way you can give back to our local veterans. And we begin in Elmira with a story from WENY's Cody Carlson. On Friday, veterans and community members gathered at the Woodlawn National Cemetery for a veteran memorial service. The placement of the memorial wreath was followed by the firing detail, and then taps was played. People bowed their heads as the benediction was given following the retirement of the colors. At one point, everyone sang "God Bless America" in unison. Air Force veteran Robert Bly says honoring veterans is important because the nation owes veterans everything they can give them.
It's just a recognition for veterans of everything that they've been willing to give and sacrifice for the freedoms that we enjoy. They're willing to step up and literally offer their lives in defense of our country.
Next, we head to the Bath VA Medical Center for a story by WENY's Kara Demers.
The Bath VA Medical Center presented patients, their families, and the community with the opportunity to commemorate veterans with a musical salute Friday afternoon. The Mansfield University Mountaineer Brass Band took the stage for a packed auditorium, saluting military veterans with an array of songs. Though aside from just the music, those at the VA were also appreciative of the opportunity to just be recognized for their service.
Out of this world, 100%. They gave us a special, part of us got a special breakfast. We all got a special dinner, a lunch, and some of us are having a special dinner.
So they do a lot for you here.
They go way out, overboard for us on Veterans Day.
Students, including those in the band, were also grateful for the opportunity. Band director Nathan Rinnert says they hope to begin making their appearance at the VA an annual event from here on out.
They came today expecting to express gratitude over and over and over again, and they have been shown gratitude so much in just the first few minutes that they were here that they were very surprised.
Army veteran Amalia Pellon says today she's thrilled to see how interested the community is on such a special day. She appreciates the effort she sees people making to pay their respects to those, such as herself.
I served my country, and I'm proud of it. I wish they could have done more.
There's always a sense of pride here. There's always a sense of veteran pride here at the facility. So today we're just recognizing it.
Reporting in Bath, Kara Demers, WENY News.
Elementary schools across our region have been teaching their students about veterans and their importance in our country. And recently I joined 3 of them as they welcomed in dozens of men and women to honor them and say thank you. Center Street Elementary School in Horseheads invited nearly 100 local veterans and service members to a special celebration ahead of Veterans Day. Students and teachers lined the halls, waving flags, shaking hands, and most importantly, thanking the men and women for their service. Many of the veterans told me this annual event is both emotional and heartwarming, and it serves as a lesson for the kids.
I think my favorite part is the kids. I mean, the kids, seeing them smile and shaking hands with them all.
It makes me feel good that they appreciate what the veterans did.
I hope they take away that you should thank the people that did the hard work ahead of you, and I also hope that just by showing all the different types of veterans, we have women, men, everyone from all walks of life, that anyone can defend their country and should, and so I think that's an important lesson too.
And students at Finn Academy in Elmira had a similar experience ahead of the holiday as well. The young students serenaded and saluted more than 70 local men and women who have fought for our country. Veterans also got a chance to mingle and share their stories with the students over breakfast. They then paraded through the halls, shaking hands and giving high fives one by one. Many veterans said they were thankful for such a thoughtful tribute.
This tugs at your heartstrings to see these young kids who seem to appreciate our service and what we did for the country more than it was appreciated 40 years ago. It really does. It tugs at your heart.
We all need to work towards a better country. We all need to be part of something and to give of ourselves rather than just take for ourselves.
And students in Hornell paid tribute to our local veterans with a unique and colorful display of affection. They created a living, breathing American flag. More than 900 students from grades K through 6 donned red, white, and blue to map out the flag on the football field. They also sang, played taps, and read essays about what patriotism means to them. Students say the goal is to give the veterans the recognition and thank you that they deserve. And the vets say that means the world to them.
I run in a store or something and somebody will say thank you for your service, which it's kind of hard to get used to, you know. Like I say, years ago they didn't really do that, but it really hits you. Sometimes it tears you up, and it's nice to have, you know, people care about you.
The teachers in Hornell say the last time the district made the living flag was back in 2008. Teachers say the photo and the true meaning has stuck with them and the students since. And those are just some of the many ways kids across the Southern Tier have honored our local veterans. And coming up, I'll tell you about one local middle school student who's spreading smiles to service members across the region and the whole globe. And she needs your help. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Today, we're highlighting some of the many ways our community members are honoring the men and women who serve our country this Veterans Day. Now, one local middle schooler has been spreading smiles across the Twin Tiers, the country, and the whole globe. Sophie Kartzman has been making and collecting holiday cards and thank you cards for service members and veterans. And she enlisted the help of the entire community. Her big idea started 3 years ago with a friend named Anna. They set a goal of 100 cards, but made 1,000. Each year the project grew and her goal grew. Here's what Sophie has to say about this year.
This year's goal is 30,000 cards.
From 1,000 to 15,000 to 27,000. Over the past 3 years, community members near and far have helped Sophie Kartzman collect holiday and thank you cards, spreading support to service members and veterans, both locally and all across the globe.
I hope that they realize that we are really thinking about them and that we really, really appreciate them.
And this year is no exception, so she needs your help.
This project is about getting kids in our community and around the country to volunteer and to give back to our servicemen and women. It doesn't cost any money. It's just taking 2 minutes out of your time and just taking a piece of construction paper if you like drawing, taking a marker, a pencil, a pen, or whatever you want, and just saying thank you.
Dear soldiers, thank you for all you do to keep our country and our world safe.
American flag and a star that says your family loves you. Good luck. Thank you for defending our country.
I think it's great that everybody in our school is participating, since obviously that brings a lot of cards out, and it also shows everybody to respect the soldiers.
It makes me feel wonderful.
Aww.
Because
It's just doing something nice.
And so it's nice to know that we're helping not just local people, but folks from all over our country.
Sophie says the annual card drive wouldn't get very far without community card makers or her smiling sidekick, but this year it'll have to. Casimir Krolak, a World War II veteran from Elmira and Sophie's close friend, passed away in August.
Kaz taught me many things. He taught me about our country's past, how we can make a difference in our present, and how we can learn to be our country's future. He taught me that whether you are young or in a nursing home, you must always continue to try to give back.
This year's card drive is in memory of Kaz Krolak, and Sophie hopes his message will inspire others to get involved as well. Reporting in Horseheads, Leanne DeRosa, WENY News.
As of Veterans Day, Sophie has just more than 13,000 cards. And again, her goal is 30,000. The deadline is November 30th. So if you would like to help, grab a piece of paper or a pre-made card, 1, 2, or as many as you want, and drop them off at one of these collection sites. You can also find them listed on our website or Sophie's website, dreambigsophie.org. But really, the bigger story is about the men and women who receive these cards, whether actively serving in our military now or having served in the past. These cards truly brighten their days. Last year, I joined Sophie as she handed out cards at the Bath VA. Take a look.
Hi, Sophie. On behalf of the United States Navy, we'd like to thank you for your hard work and support to the men and women of the armed forces.
Sophie sends cards all over the world. Some to military members stateside.
Thank you, Sophie.
Others overseas. And some to the men and women right in our own backyard, who were once in their boots years ago, the veterans.
It picks, I know, my morale up during the holidays, and I'm sure it picks up a lot of others.
The veterans at the Bath VA get a visit from Sophie often, each time bringing cards, sitting and chatting, and making a connection.
Here she got to see the stories firsthand, what it was like for people in World War II, in Korea, in Vietnam, in Iraq, and to see the humanity and not just the physical person sitting there.
A lot of them had lost their arms or legs or a body part and were connected to machines or couldn't really speak or do anything. But in the end, they're all just people.
For many vets, these cards bring them back to the days of mail call, sitting and waiting for that snail mail to arrive.
Oh, look forward to it. Yeah, I just looked so much forward to it, and and they were nice letters.
I wrote them as much as I could. I got letters from them all the time. It was nice receiving them.
I love mail call. You know why I love mail call? You asked the question, I'm going to tell you. I had a lot of girlfriends.
But Sophie's cards are different.
So did you ever get letters kind of like how Sophie has brought you from strangers?
No, nothing like that.
And now years later, they're still being remembered.
It makes me feel good that they had the time and the energy to write these cards for us.
Can't explain it, just so mind-boggling that someone would do that, to think about the veterans and what they did for our country. And that's still how I believe. I served for my country, for you, for your freedom, for your way of life, and I'd do it over and over and over again.
A thought that brought many to tears.
Oh, sure, it makes me feel good to know that we still live in a free country. The only one in the world. And we're very lucky people, very lucky.
Sophie says another big goal of hers is to get people across the community to volunteer. She says, find something you're passionate about and find a way to give back. Sophie volunteers at the Bath VA in her spare time. Now, we have to take a break, but coming up, find out how you can become a volunteer at the Bath VA as well. Stay with us. So now, if you would like to give back and honor a veteran, I think the best way is to volunteer. And so I'm here over at the Bath VA Medical Center, and I'm with Lynn Deinhardt. She is the Volunteer and Recreation Manager. Thank you for joining me.
Well, thank you for asking. It's a pleasure to be with you today.
And it's a pleasure to be here. We're in the museum, which I didn't know there was a museum on this campus, and it's beautiful. You should come check it out. This is just one of the places that the volunteers help out. So let's start off with, how many different volunteers do you have here on campus?
Well, we actually have over 400 regularly scheduled volunteers, which means they come at various times throughout the days, the weeks, the months. We also have what we call occasional volunteers, and they come for the special events, the concerts, holidays, that type of thing. We're very blessed. This area supports our veterans, all of our service organizations, the American Legions, the VFWs, the Elks, Order of the Eastern Star. All of their missions is to serve veterans, so we're very fortunate that they support our VA and they volunteer. This is just one area that we have about 8 regular volunteers. The museum's open from 10 to 2, Monday through Friday, or at special requests for tours for schools and different events. We also have volunteers that work in our police department. We have volunteers that do secretarial and office work in different medical offices. We have volunteers that work in the volunteer office. We have volunteers that drive. Our volunteer drivers actually start at 5 o'clock in the morning sometimes, and they drive all over 5 counties. They have done thousands and thousands of miles each year to bring our veterans into the medical center for their medical appointments. We also have volunteers that work with our therapeutic recreation department, and they help the veterans do all kinds of activities, arts and crafts, music venues, holiday events, parties, birthday celebrations. It's just a whole host of things that our volunteers can do. So again, we're very blessed. We had over 426 regularly scheduled volunteers this year, and we always aim to do a youth summer program. So if you are 14 and older in the summer and you have some extra time and you want to join our youth program in the summer, contact Voluntary Services. We put probably 17 to 20 teenagers to work every summer, and they get to do a lot of fun things with our veterans, but they also learn how to give back, and they learn a little bit of history about why we're here and what it means to be free and what our veterans have sacrificed for us in America. So it's a great program. So we'd love to have you. If you're interested in volunteering, give the Volunteer Service Office a call. We can hook you up, put you to work, and it can be as little as once a week, once a month, a couple hours here, a couple hours there. So it's very independent and very flexible. So whatever works for your schedule. So.
Wonderful. I was going to ask, are there any requirements? You said for the youth program it's 14 and up, and then anyone else can help anytime?
Right, and we do have a process that we have regular orientation, and it's just like being an employee, and we have to do fingerprinting, which we provide here through our police department. And then once that's all completed, we try to find an assignment to match you up with your skills. What do you like to do? What did you do when you worked, in your retirement? What are your hobbies? And a lot of times people like to do something different, and many of them bring their talents here, and it's just a wonderful program.
Now, you mentioned Pearl Harbor, December 7th. You're having an open house. Tell us about that.
Well, each year we try to do something to commemorate the museum and all of the artifacts that are here, and a lot of people don't realize in the VA systems alone, there are very few museums left. We are one of the largest. So on December 7th, our volunteers will be here to offer free tours, do a little bit of the history of the different war eras, and we have an open house. We also do that on Memorial Day because we do a program up in the cemetery. We also have what they call a Wreaths Across America program coming up in our National Cemetery, which is adjoined with our campus here. So, and that's open to the public, and we encourage people to come and volunteer that day as well.
Wonderful. Now, what do you think the veterans who live here on this campus and who visit, what do you think they love about having these volunteers coming out, mingling with them, chatting, spending time, helping them?
A lot of our volunteers are veterans themselves, and so they give back in that way. For our folks that live in the Community Living Center, which is our nursing care area, this is their home. So when folks come in and volunteers work with them and help them do their arts and crafts, they might just be a friendly visitor that sits with them and has a cup of coffee. We have a couple of volunteers that sit with our folks that are in our hospice area, and rather than being alone, they can commemorate and talk about stories, and they can share, experiences, and they can relate to one another. And I think it's a very important piece, especially because many of our veterans don't have family members in this area. So
it's nice. It's a nice way to connect with a veteran, get to know them, share your story, listen to their stories. And now we're going to go meet with one of the veterans who works here in the museum, or the volunteers who works here in the museum. His name is Larry. So let's go. And I'm joined now by Larry Tears. He has been a volunteer here for 10 years. So Larry, what brought you out here to volunteer?
Well, my At the time, my girlfriend worked here, and I went with her, and I started working here. But I could never get in service. But so this way I put some appreciation for the vets that did go in the service.
And you had family in the service, is that right?
Yes, I had 3 brothers and a stepfather and some uncles and aunts. And I had 2 uncles as POWs, and a brother died of Agent Orange. So I have history of it, but I can never get into it.
It's okay, but you get to come here and remember them as well as give back. What does that mean to you?
It means a lot to me. That way I can always have something to fall back on, or I can explain things to younger kids that comes through from the schools and stuff like that. It's real nice working here. And plus that, I got some nice volunteers, bosses and workers that works along with us. So every day I come in and learn, and people come in, they can learn. So.
Now, why is it important for people to volunteer with the VA?
Well, as I understand it, it wasn't for us volunteers, the VA wouldn't be open. Be honest.
That's a perfect reason. Yeah.
Because volunteers do a lot in this VA hospital. And I don't know, there's something about us retired folks, it gives us something to do too, get us out in the open and meet different people, walks of life, and religion and stuff like that, it's nice.
Alrighty, Larry, thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
That's all the time we have for today. If you would like more information about volunteering at the Bath VA or helping Sophie make holiday and thank you cards for service members and veterans, you can visit our website, WENY.com. Now, thank you so much for watching, and to our veterans and military members watching, thank you for your service. Have a great day.